Hi ladies. Okay, so I'm late. Sorry about that. I hadn't seen my dad for Father's Day, and I just had to make the time and go see him. So sorry I'm late, but I had to go see my dad. Okay, so first I'm gonna prep the barbacoa. So I had some questions about how to use this meat because I've never cooked it before. So here are some suggestions on how to use the barbacoa. Tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas. Follow my instructions for the chimichangas, but substitute this cooked meat for the cooked meats in the chimichanga recipe. Quesadillas. I had more tostadas, and you can even take, if you don't want to do a crossover, take low-carb flour type tortillas, air fry them, or you could bake them, and you can use those to make an S tostada. Taquitos, I have a recipe on my blog making taquitos. You just substitute this meat for that meat. This meat doesn't have it's not like crazy like strong flavor. There's no heat to it at all or anything. It's just beef, and this is a beef chuck roast, I think it is, and seasonings, and you just let it cook all day long. This is one of those great slow cooker recipes that you let cook all day long. You don't have to worry about being home or anything. It's just gonna cook all day. And then shred it and then serve it like I just gave you all those suggestions. You could even, I'm sure, put it on a salad for your protein. It's just a simple, great Mexican beef recipe. And so use it however you want. Now again, because this was $3.27 a pound, and I've been trying to make this very, very budget friendly. If you can't find like a hunk of beef at a good deal, you can sub pork. I had someone ask me if I found a pork loin on sale, if that would work. I think it would work fine. My suggestion is with anything like this is before you serve it, taste it and see if you like the flavors. And we don't need the lime or the cilantro today. The lime and cilantro come in the day that you serve it. So I'm gonna start with the beef barbacoa, and it needs a half a cup of broth. And again, I just eyeball it. When I make the recipes, I write down the amounts, and then after that, when I make it again, I just eyeball everything. I did not trim these. I did not have time to do anything like that. These are even the chicken thighs. I've got to make it to my chiropractor appointment at 5, so it is what it is today. So I've got the beef broth in there. I gotta get the onion. I chopped these with my chopper before I went to my dad's. And my house smells like onion, like really strongly it smells like onion. I'm sure my husband, when he got home and I wasn't here, that was the first thing that he smelled, was this onion. And I really do like my chopper. It takes time, everything takes time, but it definitely makes it a little bit easier. And the recipe does not state purple or red onion, whatever color you use to describe this onion. I just used what I had. And look at other ones. Oops. My dogs. Okay. And this is white and yellow I mixed together. Oh gosh, this is so sharp. I'm probably gonna cry. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cover that up for sure. Oh boy. Okay, 3 tablespoons of garlic. I'm gonna need to get some garlic this weekend. I hope I have enough to finish these recipes. Okay, so 3 tablespoons of garlic. I've been sneezing. I have no idea what in the world is happening here in Texas that could cause me to be sneezing 2 days in a row. My dog just sneezed. I could not have put that on cue any better at all. Oh, I'm gonna be a little short, I think, of the other recipe. Okay. Now, a teaspoon of salt. I turned the fan off this week because, you know, I've already told you it is hot here. It's hot everywhere. We were supposed to have one day that was 99, and then now it's 100. But so like right here is like a dead zone for air circulation, and I had the fan, but it blows the seasoning, and so then it's like not that helpful. I don't know. Oh wait, this is a lot of salt. I'm gonna flip it. That's better. Okay, chili powder. A tablespoon of chili powder. Now, sometimes chili powder can be spicy. So, one time I make this dip for our church, for our youth group, I mean, and I used a different chili powder once, and one of the girls was telling me it was too hot. So sometimes your chili powder can be a little spicy, I guess. So just be like, I don't know, just pay attention, especially if you have sensitive palates that will be eating it. Okay, cumin. Where's my cumin? I ran out of my cumin, so I borrowed my daughter's cumin, because both of these recipes use cumin. And my husband's been making so much salsa, and he puts cumin in his salsa, that we're just gonna run out. Okay. And then paprika, a teaspoon. And black pepper. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is squish up the bags a little bit. Hopefully I won't sneeze from that. I think it's because I have been cooking since I was in my teens. And then I've cooked so much for our family of 7 that it just kind of comes naturally, or what, it just experiences, my guess would be the right word. Okay, and I'm going to show you again how I do my final, I'm going to sneeze, my final squish, because there's some air in here. So what I do is I take a little pocket, just a little bit, and you have to be really, really careful when you have one with liquid. So like the butter chicken's be a little bit more difficult. And I think both of these recipes did say to brown them. I'm not browning them. Browning does add a little bit of flavor, but this is dump and go, super easy. Okay, so then I got, now it's not vacuum sealed, but it's vacuum sealed without a vacuum sealer, so I'm going to get it. I'm going to move these to the side so I don't knock anything over. And my dog's left me. Okay. Okay, so now it's a butter chicken. Now I've had somebody contact me and ask me a few questions. I gotta be careful. A couple of these, if you buy them, I have at least 2 that the green comes out. And I need to mark them so I know. So if you do this and then you pick them up like with just that, and it might spill. So I'm trying to be a little bit extra careful. So I was going to kind of talk about the flavors of this dish. If you've never had like anything that is kind of, I'm doing exactly what I said don't do. If you've never had anything like with the Indian flavors before, this might be a little scary, which maybe would be the right word, because it's different. So this calls for something called, I don't know how to say it, garam masala, and it is one of the flavors that flavors this dish. I'm going to try to smell it and describe what it smells like, but I have no idea if I can do that. I'm not like it smells to me like Indian food taste. I don't know how to describe it. It's not sweet. I do not add, one thing you will not find on my blog are recipes with things like cinnamon and stuff added to. It's my preference. So this has more, I don't know, like definitely savory, I like the smell, and I also like the taste. No, it is not spicy hot. There is no heat in this. Indian food can be very, 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 very spicy. That is correct. But I do not think this is spicy. You could probably go online. Oh, this says it has cinnamon in it. That's hilarious. Oh, no, it says you can. Okay, no. So it's cumin, coriander, pepper. I just said I don't put cinnamon in my dishes. Whoops. It is not sweet, though. There's none of that, like, well, cinnamon isn't sweet, but it doesn't have that, I don't know, like, it's not a powerful flavor, obviously. Cumin, coriander, black pepper, cardamom, cinnamon, pepper, red pepper. So it has red pepper, but this is not, I do not find this spicy. Nutmeg and allspice. So it definitely has some flavors in there that I was not expecting. So excuse me on that one. Okay, so this also says to brown. We're not browning. So what I'm going to do is, it can't be butter chicken if you don't add butter. So I'm just going to drop it in. We're just going to cook it in the crock pot just like this. Again, I'm trying to make these so easy that someone who doesn't have time or doesn't want to be in the kitchen can get dinner on the table. I have a sister who doesn't really like to cook, doesn't want to touch raw meat. So I'm hoping that maybe also she will find some inspiration, hopefully, and get in her kitchen. And, well, that kind of sounds so sexist. I don't mean it like that. Maybe motivate her to make some meals for the family. Barry, thank you so much for sharing. I had no idea. So this has most of those ingredients, but not all of them. Okay, so for the gram marsala, it's a tablespoon. And this is not going to fit, so I'm just, and I am going to measure this, and the reason I'm measuring this is this has flavor, and I don't want to add too much, so you've seen me not measure, but again, I'm just pouring it into this spoon. Well, it's actually a tablespoon, but whatever. And again, that's too much. I'll be serving this over cauliflower rice that has some of these same flavors in it. My tip is, again, keep cooking it until there's no more cauliflower flavor or texture or anything. It just becomes this nice, soft, whatever flavors you add to it, rice. I'm going to smell this real quick. It just smells so good. Okay. Ginger, I'm cheating again this week. I'm using this ginger from the produce section, and it calls for 1 tablespoon, so I'm going to guesstimate a tablespoon. Okay. Turmeric, I'm going to measure this. No, I'm going to eyeball the turmeric. I think we say turmeric, but it is not spelled turmeric. It's spelled turmeric. I don't know, turmeric. So if I'm saying that wrong, it's how I've heard it said most of my life. Like the R is silent. And turmeric is so good for you. That is such an, oh, it's so healthy. Okay, ground cumin. Oh, this is my daughter's, so here's her ground cumin. 1 teaspoon. That's probably a little more than I needed. Okay, a teaspoon of salt, and I have a teaspoon of pepper. Yes. I don't salt one bag twice. That could ruin the dish. Half a teaspoon of pepper. And again, before you serve it, okay, this one calls for the heavy cream to be added. I add it right before I serve it. That is how I prefer it. I feel like dairy products can separate in the crock pot. If cooked too high or even too long, they can separate. And I'm not a huge texture person, like it doesn't always bother me, but the look of separated like heavy cream, I do not want to eat that. That's just my preference. Rotel, my son did my rotel for me. And if you don't have Rotel, it's just, I get the generic as well. It's just tomatoes and green chilies. I did not drain, they're just opened. And if you've been paying, like following along with my uncle, he is doing really good and has been walking at home and everything, and they're saying everything he's doing is really good. Oh, did that not call for? Okay, this calls for a tablespoon of minced garlic for each bag. I don't have another tablespoon for each bag, so what I'm going to do is two options. I could do some garlic powder. Okay, because I wouldn't call for it. Or I can just make a note on the bag or my sheet that I need to add garlic. So I want to show you my sheet. Oh, I need onion. There's the onion. Thanks, Jerry. Okay. It'd be smarter to use something to scoop, but okay. Oh, these are so strong. Oh, they're so strong. And I did use chicken thighs, so I went to my store that does the 4 for $20. It's really like 4 for $19.98 or something. And what I did is I found 3 bags of chicken thighs that were 1.7-ish in the area pounds. And the recipe calls for 2 pounds of chicken thighs. So then I found one that was 2.56 pounds. So then what I did is if I had time, I would have used my scale. Hi, Bonnie. And like I did last week, I was pretty accurate. I went through and got it as close as possible. So I didn't have time this week, so I just kind of eyeballed it and then did 3 bags with the 1.7-ish area, then did most of the 2.1 and then divided it up between the other 3 to make them closer to the 2 pounds. So that's it for this cooking day. So I'll show you what I didn't show what the other bag said. So I put on here butter chicken 823. It says cook on low 4 to 5 hours or high to 2 to 3 hours. Stir in a half a cup of heavy cream, top with cilantro. So I've got that in here. Okay, so my friend made the Asian pork tenderloin. It's not really, it's like the little, really small guys I get from my butchers for buy one, get one for a penny. They are on sale this week for buy one, get one for a penny. Anyway, she used a pork loin, so like the big fat guy. That makes sense. And it took her like an hour, I think, in the pressure cooker. And if you remember, that's one thing I keep saying on here is the cooking time is going to depend on the size of the meat that you use. So like the barbacoa that we've already prepped, that is a big hunk of meat, and it's going to need to cook like all day. I do not know how quick it will cook on high. My guess is I would say 5 to 6 hours, but double check. It's a roast, so it's not going to, it should just get softer. It should not disintegrate. So whatever meat you use, whatever meat you find on sale, again, make the barbacoa with a pork loin, and that's a good one. Again, it's a big fat one that will cook all day. I mean, not fat. You don't want. Hope that makes sense. And then, oh, I didn't get my paper. Okay, so last week I did the pepper steak, and I had 2 bags that were needing brags. I was in a hurry to get them in the freezer. I did not make note which bags did not get the brags, so I wrote it on my paper. What I'm going to do, let me try and talk. 2 bags needed brags, and then one of them, as I was trying to put it in the freezer and trying to get everything situated, one of them, I guess I didn't seal it all the way, and some of it leaked out. So I added another note that one had some liquid leak out. So that way when I cook them, I will know to taste it before I serve it, because 2 are missing the brags, and then 1 is going to be missing some of the liquid. And so those are going to be important on cooking day. What I'm going to do when I'm finished with this whole series is I'm going to take a picture of this, because I know me, and by the time we get to the end of this, with all these recipes and eat them, I might not know where this bag or this paper is. So I will take a picture, and I'm going to do one more step, which is never something I do. If you look at my phone, you might lose your mind with how it's not organized. I will create a folder that says freezer cooking, so I will be able to access this without scrolling through thousands of pictures. Anyway, so that is my tip on this if you're writing it down. And don't forget, when you do eat them, or at least get them out of the freezer, mark them off, because then it's not going to be in there when you go to get it. That is it. I hope you're having a great Friday. I've got to put this up in the freezer and then run to our chiropractic appointment. If you have questions, if you still would like to know some flavors, anything. I've had a few people reach out to me and have a few questions, and I'm trying to answer them so that if somebody else had the same question, it does get answered. I had someone reach out to me that only has, I guess, a pressure cooker, and recipes that I'm not even using. They're just different recipes. I'm not an expert, I will say that. So if I say something and it ends up, your cream doesn't separate, or you put in your cream cheese at the beginning and you like it, that is great for you. I'm just kind of sharing what has worked for me in all these years of cooking for my family and doing the freezer cooking. Again, I do not like cream cheese that has been frozen. That is I do not like it. But if your family wouldn't care and you don't care, then freeze anything if a recipe calls for cream cheese or heavy cream, just let it cook all day with it. But again, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. These guys are not necessary. I have found them quite convenient, especially doing this live where I make plenty of mistakes. But thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great end of summer. Bye.